legal expert, let me tell you that there is a certain legal framework we should comply with the moment we use this data. Member of the Academy Tufish mentioned something about machine translation, and he said that the better the quality, for the best quality, we need to reuse data that was initially used to do translation. But legally speaking, we should comply with certain legal requirements. As Mr. Christa said before, we are speaking about copyright or intellectual property rights or the contents of some data, which in evil hands may lead to bigger disadvantages than benefits. We need a clear system regarding the reuse of data in the EU and the member states to allow for the legal interoperability of data as well as technical. That would enable good quality of translation, also allowing for the generation of easy to reshuffle or easy to reshape mechanisms that can help us correct errors. Therefore, the main objective to be pursued is the following. We need a single market in Europe for these innovative applications, but we need the legal frame in place as well. Directive 98 of 2003 has laid the foundation to the reuse of public information. This directive was later on completed by Directive 37 of 2013. This pair of directives has already been transposed in Romanian legislation, which means that we can reuse data from the public sector. This directive focuses on open data, data that was used before and are now in the public domain, and involves clear regulations regarding costs and includes the cultural institutions such as museums, libraries and archives in the scope of the directive, which actually means a new expanded scope of enforcement. It also provides for the introduction of a clear regime for exclusive agreement of using this public information and emphasizes the various permits that can be read by machine-readable certificates or permits. This is the metaphor of the aspirin, which can also reflect our situation. Just as information from the public sector, the aspirin helps us kill a headache, for instance, or anything. But aspirin is not to be used anytime, anywhere. So it's the same is true for information from the public sector. That is why it is always good to ask for advice, to be able to use the information. Even though we're dealing with public information, sometimes we don't know what's the nature of the information we can access. There are 4 domains with regard to information. Information from the public sector and norms stay at the top of the pyramid, so to speak. They they come before other legal regimes regulating information such as copyright, data protection or confidential data, which is excluded from the scope of the directive. The goal of the directive is the following. Once a data set complies with the specific requirements provided in the directive, this kind of information, public sector information, can be made available to clients for reuse. And it can lower or make inexistent the related problems. Therefore, the legal regimes of this information goes hand in hand with the sectoral policies. Inspire is one of them. The regulation of statistical data is another specific regime, and they accompany or go hand in hand with the possibility of reusing specific information. Normally, this type of information from the public sector should be made available to the interested parties for them to use them for commercial purposes, but mainly non-commercial. That is why the directive provides for standard permits and the possibility of interoperability of such permits, whereas all the modern languages associations, MLA, are included in the directive. Moreover, in order to consider that public sector in order for information to be considered public service information, they should be information of public use. But if we are dealing with copyright, the copyright holder or the intellectual property holder should have the necessary permits or certificates. But if copyright is inside the public domain, then we can use the text or the data. Sometimes documents include personal data, but this does not prevent them from being reused. A set of requirements should be met to protect personal data. First of all, the consent for data processing can be obtained. As Mr. Christa said before, we can anonymize part of the data included in a text, so as to be in compliance with the law when we process the data. Also, there is a domain which excludes information from reuse. And I have in mind all the elements that are confidential in nature, or they stand for trade secret, or they refer to national security, and so on. The information which is excluded is rather the exception, not the rule. The documents and the information which is excluded should be specifically outlined or designated as such. As Mr. Fish said before, the data is used as individual data, not as long text. in order to allow for the generation of a new translation and also allowed for better, improved translation results. We generate new models that allows for translating new texts later on. But there are several steps linked to the ISP directive. There are 5 elements that need to be complied with. First, and you can see here in colors what we should do. First is to exclude confidential information. Where necessary, we need to obtain the consent, find the legal basis, and anonymize data. If not possible, such personal data should be excluded. Next step is to make sure to verify or to check the copyright. We should see whether we are dealing with a public domain material or one which is protected by copyright. There are national norms transposing the information from the public sector, such as open permits or standard procedures to release the information. Using an open governmental permit, a public permit, or a standard permit means that we actually comply with the policy regarding the reuse of public information. In Europe, we see examples of good practice allowing for the reuse of public domain information and how to do that successfully. The first example comes from a database from Greece, managed by the Greek government, allowing for the transposition of Law 4305 of 2014, as well as other administrative documents, decrees, and so on. The mechanism allows for the implicit opening of the translation system under the terms of an open permit. The other example, publishing house from Greece too, together with the database presented before, this is the publishing house that allows for the translation of the previously mentioned documents. All the publications are official publications, so there is no need for a specific permit. Now, an example from the UK, where there is a mechanism linked to the British National Archives involving the possibility to reuse public information and thus creating a good practice model by offering open licenses or licenses for reuse in the UK. Normally, there are open and reuse licenses, but this instrument is actually a licensing forum.
Again, another example from the UK, a legislative portal which includes all the regulations on the ISP, the public sector information, and it also covers the whole updated legislative framework. There are data and open links. Via this mechanism, what is provided is the access to all information of public character, as well as the ISP directive text. As for the exclusive agreements of the UK in the ISP field, there are personalized licenses and types of data, audiovisual, geodata, textual data, which can be used, but in only a limited manner. The right is granted only to certain users. Why? Because some information is not part of the public domain. But this is a financing source for some of the bodies of the public sector. And this means a continuity of the services provided. In France, the Department of Legal and Administrative Information has a portal, an IT portal, which opens the access to some data in the open data system, ensuring the transposition of all information from the public sector. The case law is also covered here. All the decisions of the State Council are presented there, as well as the decisions of the rulings of the Cassation Court, the Supreme Court in France. Le Monde Diplomatique, a magazine in France, includes a catalogue of all the info in the public sector. It also presents a license of the European Association for Linguistic Resources, ELRA, and with the help of the newspaper archive it has created, it allows for the use of the info in the public sector, either for research purposes or for commercial use there where it is necessary, or for assessment activities. As for other questions and further clarifications, our experts are ready to answer those. Thank you.